Drive Breakfast Show on Camnet TV. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have nothing but the best for you in current affairs. A lot of happenings took place over the weekend. We saw the Socialist Party's Kelvin Kaunda being suspended for party, and we saw another development yesterday that took place where the Akoba Belt provincial youth chairperson resigned from the Socialist Party as an opposition political party. The youth from the party issued a statement saying that the party remains strong and the party will be having a press briefing. And of course, the #1 community TV station, Camnet TV, will be at hand to bring you these particular details and what will emerge in that particular press briefing. Hello, Joe Smarter, to be with you for the next 1 hour. Right now, we bring in our dollar-based governance, our dollar-based democracy advocate, Mr. Mtale. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
I keep on mixing up governance and democracy, but you are a advocate. Good to have you here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Tapelo. Good morning, listeners, viewers, listening and watching us from.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. Mtale, two things that we would like you to weigh on. Now, Socialist Party had a press briefing where Mr. Kelvin Kaunda urged their members, the general public, Gen Zs, the youths, the women, the men, persons with disabilities to go out in numbers and register, obtain their voters card, obtain their NRCs, and be eligible to take part in the 2026 general elections. However, when he was addressing that particular press briefing, there was a statement that began making rounds on different social media platforms, and hence this led to suspension. Mr. Mtale, your sense on this particular matter?
Well, the beauty about Mount Baptist is they have a number of stakeholders, players that should take activity that relates to electioneering. The press briefing was welcome in that it was encouraging who to be voters and reminding them of their responsibility and franchise. And the only way they can do that is through having the prescribed documents in form of NRC and the voters card. Suffice to mention that this should extend to all the stakeholders, civil society, and the government itself. The pressure by Mr. Kaunda, to me, was misconstrued because I had an opportunity to refresh and reflect on it. The purpose to me was purely to encourage stakeholders within the rank and file of their political party to follow what is prescribed in the supreme law of the land, that every political party that wants to participate in a general election should go to a convention and elect their substantive intra-party leaders. He declared interest to say, if that was held, I'm ready to position myself for candidate as a presidential candidate within the party, and if elected, be the candidate for the 2021 election and 2026 elections, as it were. So the issues that follow thereafter, to me, is what I would call unfortunate. This is a time that we need the opposition to position themselves correctly and marshal themselves towards 2026, as opposed to raising dust from amongst themselves and lose concentration, because their concentration now should have been put in focus on ensuring that the membership is rejuvenated and reactivated, removing to numbers by way of suspensions, expulsion, disadvantage the opposition, and negate the very purpose of being established as a political formation.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mtale, from the action that was taken by the political party's Politburo that suspended Mr. Kelvin Kaunda, how do you make of this particular suspension?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I've not taken read the disciplinary code of the Socialist Party. However, I'll speak of the CAF. As I speak of the CAF, I'm making reference to a number of activities that has been happening in the Socialist pertaining to members leaving and giving the reason. If you look at the pattern and style of those that have left, or those that have been suspended or expelled and left, they have always mentioned the issue of dictatorship within the Socialist Party. It is like Fred Membe is the alpha and omega of that organization. I should also mention that this is a very unfortunate phenomenon in Zambian politics, where these political formations, the person or the torchbearer is always untouchable, or untouchable, regardless of how unappealing to the membership they are. They want to continue being at the helm without subjecting themselves to election, party election. Remember, we are talking about democracy as a whole in a democratic country, and democracy should not just be seen at a national level when it comes to elections. Democracy should start from within the political players who are opposition political parties. They should be democratic in their stature, so that even as they aspire to lead the nation, the tenets that they have created within or amongst themselves as opposition political parties, or as clubs, as it were, they would be to transmit or how democratic they will be if they get the mantle to lead the nation. So the activity of the Socialist Party, what I've learned, what I've read, what I've seen, what I've around, say the supreme leader is the alpha and omega, and he has insulated himself by selecting a few people that are so close to him that anyone cannot penetrate the inner circle. That is the most unfortunate part about the socialism.
Mr. Mtale, latest development coming from the Socialist Party that happened barely 24 hours ago is the resignation from the position of Copperbelt Provincial Youth Chairmanship. And we're talking about their member who has resigned, Warren K. Mulenga, the youth chairman, Copperbelt Province. He resigned, and in his resignation letter, he did make mention that the untimely suspension of Mr. Kelvin Kaunda, popularly known as KK, among the youths, is that Mr. is not happy. He was part of that press briefing. I was there personally, was there, and we witnessed everything that took place. Now, I'll read this letter in part, allow me, Mr. Mtale. Now, the letter reads, and I quote, "It is with a heavy heart, a conviction that I tender my resignation as Copperbelt Provincial Youth Chairperson of the Socialist Party effective immediately. The decision has not come lightly. It follows deep reflection on the increasingly undemocratic conduct of the party leadership. The Socialist Party was founded on the political principles of collective leadership, justice, equality, and the defense of the youth. Yet today, are being undermined by a leadership that has become intolerant of internal criticism, allergic to accountability. The centralization of authorities in a few individuals has eroded the spirit of comradeship and replaced democratic engagement with the fear and conformity. Part of this particular statement reads, and the second last paragraph, I'll just read, I think, 2 lines. A clear example of this was the unceremonious dropping of Comrade Kelvin Kaunda based on fake Facebook stories without proper investigation. Now, Mr. Mtale, Mr. Mlenga says without proper investigations or verification, Mr. Kelvin Kaunda was dropped from his position.
Yes, Mr. Smata, that is why I was saying. It's unfortunate I have not taken side of the disciplinary code of the socialist. However, generally, whenever a member of the club is seeming to have offended, procedures that are followed. Was Mr. Written to, for instance, to ask him to exculpate himself. Remember, he's not been expelled from the party. He's been suspended or removed from his position. So what is the disciplinary procedure that was followed to arrive at that decision? And remember, we are talking about following procedures, because the governance is about procedures. So if a club cannot follow its own prescribed procedures, then we are doomed. Mr. Mlenga, in his resignation has indicated that undemocratic, underline that word.
Okay.
When you are talking about a democratic governance and aspiring to lead the nation, every aspect of your scrutiny, how you handle your own house, reflects how we are going to handle the nation. If you are going to use the whip at every point without going on around people to manage every affair of our lives, that indicates to everyone that the whip, the instruments of power, this is where now we are seeing people complaining about institutions like the police, the army, and all, because that is the biggest whip that politicians use when they have got instruments of power. Within the we have heard of a number of people, a number of resignations. I can make mention of certain names here because it is fact. We had a former priest, Mr. Frank Waria, who was a socialist, high-ranking official who resigned. Amongst the reasons was the same dictatorial tendency. We had this Dr. now Professor Mwerwa, the famous author. He writes a lot of articles. He also was among the rank and file, and among the reasons he forwarded was the dictatorial tendency. So it's like it's embedded in itself, the inner circle of the socialist, that every person that has got a divergent view towards leadership is treated as a leper. I will liken this to some political parties. A lot after the death of their leader, those that had a different view were wounded or kicked out of the party because they looked like they are a threat. So politics in Zambia is about self-preservation. Those that are holding on to power within their power, they don't want any person that has got a divergent view or any person that seems to be aspiring to take over their positions. They will find a way of kicking them or sidelining them, which is unfortunate for democracy, which is unfortunate for these political parties, because the time that they need every subtraction to an organization is a minus. Every subtraction is a minus. What do I mean? Mr. Tapero, right now we are talking about the opposition uniting. People are talking about how are the opposition going to unite if amongst themselves that they have, they are kicking them out. Remember, once you kick a Tapero from any place they are, Mr. Bello as an individual has got a following.
Of course.
That is how life is. Every member of an organization has got a number of people that have joined that organization because of him. Individual politics is still at play in Zambia. So when a provincial chairperson resigns, and this time we're talking about Copper Belt, a decision-making province, you cannot survive politically if the Copper Belt, if the Lusaka province has no established leadership as a political party. So the socialists have shot themselves in the foot. Remember, politics is systematic. Next, you're going to hear that beyond him, there are others that will follow suit and start resigning. Beyond him, there will be other provinces that will follow suit and start resigning. So instead of the focus of the socialists being on party mobilization, now they will start responding to resignations, and the famous political statement will be given. No, our party is intact. Intact how? You cannot be intact if even a single member leaves, because the gap that they have, if you find someone to fill it, the same someone you replace them with would have also left a gap where you are taking them from. So it's never intact whenever a member leaves an organization.
Mr. Mutale, you've talked about politics or political individualism in Zambia, and from political pundits, governance experts, and subsections of society, what we are getting is that Comrade Kelvin Kaunda KK is a force to reckon with in Zambian politics, and word from the grapevine constituency is that he is a formidable contender next year's 2026 elections, because his eyes have always been set on Matero constituency. Let's look at of his departure from the Socialist Party. Let's talk a little bit about that, Mr. Mutale.
You cannot blame the influence in Zambia's political landscape unless you have not followed the political things in Zambia. This is the man that would have won Matero with the landslide if had opted to stand independent in Matero in 2021, when the party, the patriotic party at the time, decided to impose Mao Sampa and took him to Matero from where he had. Remember, Mao had applied to stand as a mayor of Lusaka. Then, for whatever reason, the party felt they needed to field a woman as mayor, and they pushed the Maos to Matero. After, according to the information, after negotiating their way with the counter. So this is a person that is a household name in Matero. I come from Matero by birth, by the way, so I declare interest. I still have relatives there. I go to visit relatives there. If elections were held today and now in Matero for parliamentary elections, the Mr. He is actually called, for not know, is actually called Mr. What's this for again?
Mr. Eden.
Sorry?
Mr.
Eden is called Mr. Eden University. There are some voters don't even know his actual name. They just call him you are Eden, you are Eden. So this is a person that is a political phenomenon, and just downplaying his activities within the political sphere of Zambia would be a huge task. To use a huge undertaking, and the task is so huge that the socialist will feel his weight. Not just the socialist. Remember, we are talking about a politician that has made himself businessman, a politician that does not need anyone to finance them, a politician that has appealed to the youth. Because if you remember, most of the students that go to university, some of whom are material residents, have been on bursaries provided by the school, meaning he himself, since he's the sole proprietor of the school, gives bursaries to a lot of people. So he appeals to the people in many ways. Process of social media, those that have followed social media. Recently, there was twerking and issuing, singing and paratables. Society rose on her calendar, decided to embrace that person, and you see the responses that is gotten from there, the sympathy, the applause is gotten by just a person that would have been a community chief ordinarily after what those are activities that has made a household name in Matero and generally on the Zambian political scene.
Okay. Totally aware from the Socialist Party and their internal party matters. We're going to follow this particular matter keenly. Like I earlier indicated, there is a press briefing that is scheduled for this particular morning. But before we even discuss the Socialist Party issue, what do you expect to come from this particular press briefing that is scheduled to be held this particular morning? It's going to be addressed by the General Secretary. What are your expectations?
You know, the beauty about political parties in Zambia, they're very
okay.
Counters. So now they are reacting. They just reacted with his removal from the political party. Obviously, after that, you would be surprised to hear that there could have been meetings, dark corner meetings, to discuss his press briefing. There could have been people that have gone to, because every political party has got to say, no, this is what Mr. Kaunda is intending. So you would find that the press briefing is solely going to be about Mr. Kaunda and what the socialist is going to do, that the socialist is intact, the socialist is not about individuals. They are so predictable in Zambia. So I don't see anything of the order being discussed at that presser beyond that, and maybe to just cover it up, they'll talk about a number of government issues, but that press briefing is purely about Kaunda and his ambitions, especially that he indicated that he was going to stand as a president if elections were held within a socialist party for 2026.
Okay. Mr. Tale, let's move on to another issue, and this particular issue has to do with former Information and Broadcasting Minister, Dr. Dora Celia. Now, she made a statement that went viral and received positively to those that are invested with knowledge. And some pockets of disagreements here and there, you expect that in any given society. However, she did make mention that maybe Zambia should begin to consider those that go into these elective offices, councillors, council chairpersons, members of parliament, presidents as well, to have at least a minimum qualification of a degree as they go in parliament to enact laws. They should be able to understand what these laws are. But let me get it. This particular proposal coming from the former Information Broadcasting Minister, Dr. Dora Celia. Your 2 cents, Mr. Mutai.
As I give my opinion, let me declare interest. I'm not one of the people that downplays the importance of education. I've never been a proponent of, say, a degree is just a paper. If it was just a paper, every one of us would have passed through any institution that offers such and collected one. However, leadership should not be tied to academic qualification.
How so?
We have had a lot of educated fools that have presided over activities of leadership and governance that have failed lamentably, and we have had people with basic education, basic literacy that have proved that they can actually provide leadership and development to the people.
Give us examples, Mr. Mutale, especially here in Zambia. Give us practical examples.
I'm coming to that.
No, before we make progress, because this is a very important issue, and seeing that we are in the process.
Let me not lose my line of thought.
No, you won't lose your line of thought. Seeing that there are constitutional amendments going on, we need members of parliament that are well vested with knowledge, that are well educated. I think that this is a very important process.
It is the same so-called well educated Zambians that are always what they call white collar criminality. We might as well not even discuss education if it were given an opportunity. If I was going to make it,
let me ask you this question, Mr. Mtade. Allow me to ask you this question. You are saying leadership doesn't have to do with academic qualifications or academic proficiency. Now, my question is that, would you agree, who has never seen the light of a classroom, to make a constructive decision when it comes to enacting laws in parliament? Do you agree? Because there are words that need you to understand. There are things that need you to understand. The constitution itself, the penal code, the bill of rights, requires you to understand exactly what you are agreeing or disagreeing to. Do you want somebody who has never been to school to preside over your laws? Sometimes.
That is why the basic prerequisite to one becoming a leader, they should be able to read and write. That is number one. They should be literate, in short. However, attaching a specific qualification as a medium in education is what I'm against. Why am I saying so? We have seen a lot of, especially after 2000, we have seen a lot of people that have underhand qualifications for prestige. In our time, the only time we knew of having underhand qualifications is when they were fake certificates or fake degrees. But now we have original fake degrees obtained legally. Original, underline the word, original fake degrees.
How? Do you have proof to that?
Some of these people that have got these qualifications don't even write down assignments.
Do you have proof to that? That's a question, Mr. Mutale.
My brother, if I was going to people,
no, we don't want you to defame anybody, but But yes, he who alleges carries the burden of proof, Mr. Mutale.
A lot of people that have actually been caught.
No, Mr. Mutale,
assigning people to
Mr. Mutale.
Right now, go on social media, we've got people advertising.
Mr. Mutale, we don't want you to start making wild allegations that you not even have proof to. The question to you is that, wait, let's have a conversation here. Let's have a conversation here, Mr. Mutale. Let's have a conversation. Don't make wild allegations. Don't make wild allegations that you do not have proof to. Wait. My question to you is that you agree that somebody who has never seen can make a constructive decision when it comes to amending the constitution or appealing certain laws in the constitution. Do you agree or disagree?
There's a difference between not being in class and being literate. These are distinctions. So let's not confuse these things.
Agree. Do you agree? What is literacy? What is literacy?
I don't subscribe to taking an illiterate person to parliament or an illiterate to the council or an illiterate person to any position of leadership. But literacy should not be misconstrued as a failure to have documents in form of a certificate or degree. There are a lot of people that have got basic education, but they are endowed with it, that if given anything on their table.
Mr. Mutale, we have people that cannot even operate a basic computer. And if that person is taken to parliament, you expect that person to be...
That person will employ a qualified secretary, and that secretary will operate the computer for
So
them.
then why do we have the grade 4 certificate as a minimum qualification for one to aspire for political office? Why do we have the grade 12 certificate then? Was it not to remedy the same issue we're talking about?
In our wisdom, we feel a person that has reached grade 12 has got a basic understanding of certain matters. But believe you me, you cannot compare a grade 12 and the Form 3 of yesteryear in terms of understanding and assimilating.
Mr. Mutale, those times are gone. We're living in a modern society. You expect a person that doesn't know how to operate a computer, you expect a person that doesn't know how to read and write to go into parliament, to become the president of Zambia, to become the council chairperson, to become a councillor, and preside over you with a master's degree.
Mr. Smarter, can I correct you for once?
Don't correct me. I'm asking you the question. You answer.
And the academic qualification.
Come again?
You can be literate, but you cannot have a degree. You can be
Mr.
literate,
Mutale,
but not have a
Mr.
master's.
Mutale, we need to cruise. We need to cruise. We have another guest. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you soon.
But in fact, you have reminded me, I'm going to make a submission on that one. We should not attach leadership to academic qualification.
So you would rather you have a master's degree who has never been in class comes to make laws on your behalf.
Remember, we're talking about leadership that is elective. If
But we do have Mr. Mutale. Okay, Mr. Mutale, thank you so much for coming. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be joined by another guest. Do stay tuned.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, midday news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days in forgotten stories. Emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyle on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Okay. Mr. Collins Mlomba, he is the president of Ambassador of National Youth and National Welfare. He joins us. The young people are taking the mantle of leadership and they are coming to the fore to have their voices heard. Mr. You heard me when we were discussing with Mr. Fabian. He is a democracy advocate based on the Overbelt. My question to you, seeing that you're a young person and we are discussing national matters and obviously issues that have to do with democracy and politics as well. Let me get it from you. Former information and broadcasting Dr. Doris Leah made a proposal that maybe members of parliament, council chairpersons, and those vying for presidential offices should possess a minimum qualification of a degree. What's your take on that?
Actually, it's a welcome move because we are living in a changing world where there is both an art and also a science. So the science part is the qualifications of someone, and then an art, it looks about the inborn, the innate type of leadership. So I can give an example of actually some of our leaders like Mawasa, both science, and Galungu, our current president, also Mr. Gainde Ishlema, has got both a science and an art. So it will really help us because it depends. Imagine that you are being run by a person who has never been to school, by a person who doesn't know how to run the departments, and if you are to put someone who has not been to school, also the part of cadreism will be going on because most of these people that will be appointed in most of the important positions will be that of uneducated people. And then in the end, you find that there is no tangible results that have been delivered in a particular community. Okay. So it's a very good call. We need to change actually some of these qualifications as a country. Okay. We need somebody, maybe, of course, a diploma for a counselor is okay, or maybe a any skills program, as long as that person has been activated in terms of his innate potential.
Mr. Mlomba, there are those that are saying, look, and I'm surprised this is coming from people that do not possess a master's. If it was coming from somebody with a PhD, because we've seen some videos that have gone viral on social media where somebody was saying that leadership comes from God, and you can't tell somebody to have a degree, to have a master's degree, to have a PhD for them to aspire for any elective office. Leadership comes from God. But then again, they have technocrats, those that are well educated, those that possess degrees themselves, but in an outcry that they should come to the political arena as well and bring their expertise. But now with this call from the former information minister, don't you think this is the right time now to have those educated individuals come to the political?
Of course, it is our right time actually. all of us to start now participating in a political environment and also political leadership, national affairs. One thing that I would love to say is one tends to go to school in order to come back and provide change in a particular community.
Of course.
So that can not only be done by engaging ourselves in politics, it can also be done by maybe establishing a certain NGO, it can be a company, it can be what. Then after some gains now into political environment, where now the leadership will also test him or herself to say, this is what this person went to school for. So going for school programs is a very good thing, and it should change our mindset. For those that have never been to school, it's not that maybe we laugh at them or they laugh at us. No, it's the issue of who is in the office. Is that person having the qualification for him or her to be in that office? If the person is qualified, a diploma or a degree, like Madam Doris Lee has said, it's quite alright. Because if a degree is imposed to those who are standing as MPs, for those contesting as mayors, for those contesting as even presidents, it's quite alright. And it can also beautify. It can help us in beautifying our own country, because these are people who are qualified educationally and also spiritually. Because I heard that somebody said, leadership comes from God. Of course, political leadership comes from God. Spiritual leadership also comes from God, and God is the one who gives us that leadership. But it should contain both, like I said in the preamble, that it should be that of art and also a science.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, still on a particular issue, Mr. Mlomba, is the lack of degrees. Okay, let's take it to Parliament. The lack of certain members of Parliament possessing degrees, diplomas, master's degrees, PhDs. Is this what has led to some debates being questionable outside Parliament, where unpalatable language is used towards fellow members of Parliament, where demeaning language is used by a member of Parliament, maybe towards the presiding officer, or even going to an extent of defending the head of state? Is this the reason?
Yeah, it can be one of the reasons, because when you look at the current National Assembly, we also look at our MPs from different constituencies. Of course, it's not that I would mean most of them that are there, no, but we are looking at the quality of the people that are there. Of course, we are in a time where youth want to become into the political leadership, into the political environment. But we shouldn't forget that elders are our libraries. We need to consult from them. And then the other
but
thing
there are also
is...
elders. Are you aware?
I'm very much aware, but as long as for that person has seen days, compared to our days, we can still put them on the consultative processes. The only part which they lack, in fact, most of them, or most of the elders, is the part of education. Because way back, if you look at the educational system of the way back, you'll find that most of them were ending maybe in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. Today, they are our national leaders. So all those actually contributes to the failure of a quality debate in our parliament. You find that somebody is debating, they don't even know the statement that they are where they are driving to, because there is no that part of education. But if there is that part of education, a human being will be able to reason very well. His words. How is it going to sound to the citizens in our nation and also our nation? How is it going to sound to the person who is there in leadership? You see,
okay.
Those are the things that
now still just there, Mr. Mulomba. let me ask you this question. This free education that has been introduced from grade 1 to grade 4.
Yes.
Children are going free to school in public schools, and we have seen an influx of school-going children. Now, my question is, if, for instance, if, for instance, the government adopts this proposal and then takes it to Parliament as a bill to be debated and later enacted into law, if in an National Assembly decides to vote against this particular bill, do you think they will be going against free education? Because what's the use of having free education if you are not aspiring to have a PhD, a degree, a diploma? Then what's the use of free education?
So I'm sure it should be a call to all of us, to also members of Parliament. If that is taken to Parliament, every member of Parliament is supposed to vote, because it is something which will change the appearance of our country. You know, leadership contains both. We shouldn't run away from it. And it is also to be run or to be led by people who are uneducated. Uneducated people. We are talking of the people that have never entered universities or maybe any trade institutions. These people, we are coming from a background of general education, from grade 1 to grade 12, somewhere there. Yeah, that can be the minimum qualification, but that should also at least possess a certain certificate of higher learning institution, because it depends in our communities, and these are people who are even failing to deliver to ourselves in the communities. They are failing even to come back to our people and tell them that this is what we intend to do. They just take everything in their own hands because they lack that sense of reasoning which we acquire from the institutions of higher learning, because we acquire it from psychology, you see. So those are the things that we need to look at. It should be different from actually leadership to do with chieftainship. Yeah, that one it's by blood, we all know that. But political environment should be for the people who are intellectuals. You cannot be a good intellectual if you have never been to school.
Let me give you an example. You've watched the House of Commons when they're debating in the UK. The House of Commons, their parliament, the National Assembly, if you like. Yeah. I'm giving these examples because let's say it's the House of Commons that got somebody who's from a farm in Scotland or from a farm somewhere in UK put into that house. Obviously, they will look lost. Let's bring it to National Assembly here in Zambia. It's already in public domain. It's of public record. We have had members of parliament being sent outside because of their conduct in the house, a conduct that befits somebody who is found in the streets. Then you see this being exhibited by a member of parliament who is supposed to uphold that house and that office that he occupies as a member of parliament. Now, for councillors, don't you think in certain areas like rural areas, it's hard for them to even obtain grade 12 certificates? Can it be limited to only grade 12 certificates for councillors?
For councillors, we can't limit it actually to grade 12 only. Let's limit it. Councillorship, it's a very big office at a community level. That's what we should coin it. And then this is a person who is actually talking to the people directly in the particular community. And that people represents its own people in a particular community. Therefore, if that person acquires a certain paper, a certain level of education, it will really help, because the interaction between him and the particular community will be okay and will be good. It will be the well-being of the particular community.
But don't you think, Mr. Mlomba, sorry to cut you short, but don't you think in rural areas it's a bit of a challenge to cover these bikes in far-flung areas? You find that it's hard for political parties, somebody with a grade 12 certificate, about a diploma holder in the rural in a rural setup. Isn't that a challenge?
It's not a challenge at all.
But political parties
no.
grade 12 certificate.
You know,
You find somebody with a grade 12
the
certificate.
problem with political parties, they look at the people they want to stand on that particular and also that particular constituents and also a ward. But there are people in the communities. Me, I've been in towns, I've been also in the village, and I've stayed. I've spent a lot of time in the setup, so I know what I'm talking about. There are people with the quality results, quality qualifications that they can use for them to enter political environment. But what happens is that they look at the people who has got a fame.
But
Because those who are educated,
but they're not many, right?
yeah, they are not many, but it can depend on a particular, maybe
But
particular
then
role
again,
person.
I get you, Mr. Mlomba.
Yes.
But then again, that's not. It's not. It's not every part of Zambia that has got people with diplomas, degrees in the remotest part of Zambia
Yeah.
to political leadership. But making progress on this particular matter, let me bring you to issues that have to do with governance. Like examples, government empowerment policies that have been implemented in these rural areas that you've been, or in your constituency yourself. What are some policies that you have seen that government has implemented this policy and it's working in this particular area?
Policies we'll start with the very famous one, free education. It's a very good policy. It has changed actually a lot of minds of the people. A lot of people have started going back to school. A lot of people are there now learning, and they are also facing the feeding programs. So all that, it motivates our children in the communities to go back to school. Yeah, it really motivates, because if we are to look at way back, most of the children were outside the schools.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be that the could have been that of maybe school fees. The barrier could have been maybe the issue to do with the food in the schools. It could be that the barrier is that of maybe the clothings, the uniforms, because some feel shy. We were once in schools, we could feel shy when we see that my fellow pupil is in a very good uniform. Then in the bottomless type of a uniform, it really pains. So all those are the things. But for now, I can say that free education has really helped in that part. And then we have got also the part where I mean the policy where the higher education, it's called the OSB, Higher Education Student Board. That part also it is really helping our children, the graduates of general, yes, graduates from general education going into tertiary education. They are able to benefit, and they are able to acquire education from higher learning institutions without fail. We have also the issue to do with the CDF, somehow politically run, but it has really, even those in politics, they have funded something, they will really benefit the particular community. So that is the part which I can also talk of in terms of the grants and loans under CDF. Then we have got also the policy to do with empowerment. Yeah, in terms of skills and development. Then there is it's called bursaries and skills development.
Okay.
So a lot of young people, especially where I'm coming from, in Cabo, here in Lusaka, of course, I know a lot of children, especially that of my age, who have acquired skills courses, from the current government. Then I've also seen a lot of them. I'm one of the examples to those that have acquired skills courses under CDF. I was being sponsored. Yes.
So now let me ask you this question. You earlier said that somehow CDF is politically motivated. Are you a politically exposed individual? Are you politically aligned? Are you a member of the UPND?
No, not at all.
But you acquired the skill.
I acquired the skill because that party, they are doing it very well. CDF is categorized into 3. So the first one is...
let's talk about the skill. Let's talk about the skill that you acquired.
Yes.
So you acquired that skill without being aligned to the party.
Yeah, I acquired that without being aligned to the
UPND as a party.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you talk about it's somehow political, but you benefit without being a politically exposed individual.
Yeah,
so what message are you sending to the public out there for those that are not politically exposed, following your example?
So the reason why I said that it is somehow politically motivated, it's on the party where there is grants and loans. That party has been run politically.
You wanted
and
grants?
I'm not going to say it's a UPN. No. What is happening on the ground is that there is this particular MP who is running under the PF ticket, and then the other particular MP is running under the UPND ticket, or maybe whichever political party.
We're not clear on that one. We're not clear on that one because you are speaking speculatively. We need facts. As a fact, you are on national television here that you acquired a skill and you are not politically motivated, yes or no? Politically exposed, yes or no?
I was called by a school to say.
But let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Did you acquire a skill under Constituency Development Fund? Let's not look at the party that is giving.
Yes.
You acquired a skill under Constituency Development Fund.
Yes,
right?
I acquired.
Yes. So are you a politically exposed individual? Yes.
I'm not.
Okay. So you acquired that skill as a Zambian.
I acquired that skill as a Zambian.
Okay.
Yes.
So how effective is that skill to you? How is it helping you?
It's really helping me, especially that I did computers, computer literacy. Okay. Even where I'm working, I'm able to use the computer effectively. Yeah, of course there are some maybe difficult things that I can fail. Then I need to engage my speed, but at least I'm able to use. Through that skill, I'm able to use a computer, and I can also be able to teach others in my community
because of that skill.
Yes, because of that.
Okay, fantastic. If you look at the skill that you acquired and encouraging other youths to do the same thing, how beneficial will it be to other young people out there?
I can encourage the young people, especially those that have ended up in grade 7, those that ended up in grade 9. They can still in these trade institutions, so that they acquire a particular skill which can be suitable for their living, which can provide a lot of things for their living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about empowerment. How can young people be effectively empowered in different constituencies?
When we look at the empowerment, the first thing, since we are still talking about the skills, I'm sure my notion on the skills, the empowerment can also come in or can be furthered by maybe the government, if the government sees that these particular students have graduated, let the government empower, put these people actually in a group of 10, then they buy them equipments that they can use to start up a business. Because we go to school in order for us to change the appearance of our community. They start a certain business within their community so that they start contributing to the development of that particular community and to our nation. When you are contributing, it's not just for the community, it's also for the nation.
There's a spillover effect.
Yes. So after one finishes a particular study of skills, that person needs to be empowered. Let's say those that have been graduated, were doing computer literacy, they can be empowered to open up stationaries. A stationary can help this particular group in terms of providing change to that particular community. Even where I'm coming from, especially in we only have at the mine market, we only have one person who is running the station. So you find that the institutions, the Agape there, School of Nursing, also Mukuni School of Nursing, you find that there are a lot of students in that particular stationary. And
demand is high.
Yes, demand is high. So if the government starts empowering these people also by providing equipment for them so that they start helping also the people in the community, it can be a good thing that they can ever do to our people in the communities.
Okay. The powers that be to Camnet TV this particular morning, and I'm sure are following through. Dear viewer out there, please come through on the number that is called on your TV screen and engage us via our Facebook page as well, so that we can get interactive. Some of your thoughts out there, if you're watching from Kabwe Central, even better, Mongo Central, Central, or Kasama Central, please feel free to come through. Livingston Central as well, and let's have a conversation as we get into the dying minutes of our program. Let me find out from you. There's voter registration currently going on, Mr. Mlomba. What are your views regarding voter registration? We have seen a lot of young people complete grade 12. Some are getting their NRCs for the first time. They'll be first-time voters. But all in all, young people in huge numbers are making up the population of Zambia. When it comes to voter registration, what is information?
What we can say is, as a group of ANCO, what we say is that we encourage, we advise our fellows up there to make sure that they go and collect the voters cards, so that in 2020 in the voting, it's a human right, it's a franchise to us all. So we need to make sure that we participate. But if we boycott to say we are not going to get the voters cards, how are we going even to hold our leaders accountable and transparent if we are not involved in the voting? Because if we want to reduce the complaints to say this and that has been happening, we need to be involved by voting. We vote for the right person that we want to run our country, if that is the case for a particular community, if people are complaining. So we advise all the youths, not just in Kabwe, we advise all countrywide to make sure that they acquire voters cards, and that voters cards will be the spokesperson for them, because it will surely tell to say the person that they wanted is this one. Yeah, that's what we advise youths out there.
Okay,
Sure.
Mr. Sincerely for making time to come and be with us this morning. Thank you so much for coming through. Regards to the good people of Kabwe Central.
Come again.
Regards to the good people.
Thank you
of
so
Kabwe
very
Central.
much. Thank you so very much. We'll be able to share the information to them, and I'll be able to tell them that at Camnet TV, we share this and that and that. Thank you so very much for taking keen interest in actually hosting me. Present the masses of youths out there.
Okay.
Yeah, and our works are already something that we cannot explain. Our own people. If you had given the platform, they would have told you to say, this is what is currently happening with our organization. Thank you so very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Mulomba. Viewers, that's what we had for you this particular morning. Thank you to my guest here, Mr. Mulomba, and to our Ndola-based democracy advocate, Mr. Fabian Mutale, and thank you to my director, Mr. Lesa, upstairs. And thank you, the stakeholder, the viewer out there. Thank you so much for choosing us on a many. I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. We'll see you soon.